Captionating. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And evening, there's a G on the end of that. Well, welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 251. And I am your host, Adam Bell. Joining me as always is my co-host, Peter Nikolaidis. How you doing, Peter?
Pretty good for a Friday. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good for a Friday, but most Fridays are pretty good for me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was on a call with a colleague at work this morning, and he said it was pretty good for a Friday. And I was like, wait a minute, but you must be doing amazingly well. And somehow I just co-opted what he said, and I thought the exact thing that you said. So now the next person you talk to, you need to tell them you're doing pretty good for a Friday, and
pretty good for a Friday.
We're just upping the stakes for everybody.
Yeah. I think most of a lot of the professional world on Fridays kind of reserve it for, getting everything caught up for the next week. And it's kind of a lighter day, not like the Fridays of our parents.
Yeah, I remember when Friday, you worked hard for the weekend, and it was funny. When I was a kid, my parents used to get the biggest kick out of they had so growing up, my parents had restaurants like the whole time. The whole time I knew my parents, when they were working, it was in food service.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a restaurant in Bethel called the Black Forest Cafe for like 30 years. And back in the day, it wasn't so much, it was early on, I think it was in the 80s, where the employees would get out of the foundries. So there were four biggest businesses in Bethel were Vermont Castings, where they made wood stoves, the foundry plant. GW Plastics, where they were machining, plastic mold injection kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
Ultramotive Corporation, which did barrier packaging, so like alternatives to aerosol, things like Loctite and stuff. And Bethel Mills, the lumber yard, lumber corp. So, and there were some other businesses around. Valley Motor Sales was a Chevy dealership, and a few others, but those were the big ones. And every Friday at like 5 p.m. or 5:05 or 4:05, like when work got out, these people would come screaming into town, like 5 guys in the back of a pickup truck, and the truck wouldn't even like stop before they were jumping out of the back to run into the bank to cash their paycheck.
Yeah.
And like my parents, laughed. My mom was like, "That's so funny" and stuff. And I didn't believe it. And then one day I was there after school and I saw it myself. I'm like, what is it? Because then they were heading straight to the depot.
Yep.
Which was the lone bar in town to spend that paycheck. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, things have changed a little bit thanks to the advent of direct deposit. Now you can just
go straight to the bar.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to. You can just you don't go to the bar because you don't have any money because you've spent it all on FanDuel and DraftKings. And it's just
there you go.
So your direct deposit can go straight to your FanDuel account now. So.
Yeah, pay off your gambling debts so you can start them over this weekend.
Bingo. Ooh, doggy.
How many bets have you ever placed on anything like that in your life?
Do we count stock options trading?
No, that's gentleman's gambling.
Okay. That would be
carry the zero.
Zero.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
We're doing about the same.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, maybe when I was in like junior high school, I may have bet like $4 on the Patriots or something like that.
Against another middle schooler,
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Lunch money,
Yeah.
So
no, that's definitely off my list of ways that I blow money. I blow money in way more trivial ways than that.
Are we including stock options trading?
No. See, that's gentleman's triviality.
I jokingly thought when people talk about betting and stuff, do you gamble? Do you know, or like, oh, we're doing a work event at, like at the casino or, whatever. I'm like, no, I don't gamble. If I'm going to do that, I play stocks, right? Or people ask about Bitcoin, do you have any Bitcoin and stuff? And I did, to be clear, like I had Bitcoin for a while. That financed a chunk of my car and one of my properties, a while back, but I got out in like I don't know, I think I sold it like 18,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I bought in at like 5.
Yeah.
So, 5 triple 400%, 300% gain or something.
Yeah.
So no, it's not in like the 60,000s like it is now. But yeah, to each their own. So, but then I realized just how rigged that market really is. And of course, you could say that the stock market is also somewhat rigged based on how it responds to tweets from certain individuals in power with lots of followers.
Yeah. 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 There's numbers, out there that talk about how much he has made since he's been in office. Just what's publicly known.
5 billion. And I don't think that includes the jet, the new Air Force One.
Yeah. But anyway, that's not why we're here
today. Why are we here today?
Why are we here? Well, today we are here to provide more episodes for our listeners in Vietnam. We are very big there. So Chào buổi chiều, which means good afternoon in Vietnamese.
Okay. I learned something new. Welcome to the educational podcast.
No, I have no idea why. But I was checking our podcast statistics because I just wanted to look, because it really had been a full quarter since we podcasted. And I was like,
to the day.
So I was like, okay, let's see how bad it is. I was like, what is the trend? And of course, this obviously threw us in a big trend. It messed up our trend because in July 8th and 9th, we had over 400 listeners from each day. So we had 900 downloads in 2 days in Vietnam from a Mac OS. So my assumption is that's not 900 unique listeners listening to our podcast. It's an anomaly that somebody was, maybe we are now an AI bot out there somewhere with our voices, and we are, we've been propagated.
We've been cloned, and someone will be using it to fish our friends and family soon.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. So
yeah, in case I'm not crying tears of joy, I just put in some eye drops. The allergies are noteworthy here, and I'm in Vermont, and the house is a little dusty because I haven't been here for a while. So yeah, just there you go. I mean, I am happy to be here. Don't get me wrong.
So are you guys in a heat wave right now?
No, it's just passed. Thankfully,
just passed.
Yep.
Yeah, because I heard somebody saying that. I mean, it's warm here in Tennessee, like it's like 94 and 100% humidity, but that's kind of our norm in the summertime. So
right.
Yeah, actually we're at 86 right now and cloudy. So
we had that weather for a few days. It was over 100 last week at one point. And that seriously, that messed up my running training. And then I had like 3 days in a row, I had on-site customer facing meetings, including like lunches or dinners, and that impeded my training. And so kind of, luckily it sort of fell into a rest week. So my coach was like, it's not really that big a deal. So as soon as I got here in Vermont on my lunch break, I went out for a 45-minute easy run in the woods with the dog.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot cooler, but I was trying not to dodge the heat that much, though, because last weekend when I ran, I specifically was trying to stay out of the shade. because I'm trying to train for Athens and it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be hot over there. So, but 95, hopefully it's not going to be that hot.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the other concern was because of the forest fires up in Canada, the wildfires, we have really poor air quality for the last few days. So you layer all those things on top, and it's just like it is the perfect storm of not good training weather.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not, I mean, it's adverse conditions, but it's not good for you long term to inhale a whole bunch of wood smoke like that.
Bingo. Yep. It's not, it's not. And we've talked on the podcast about smoke generally is carcinogenic.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's food that you're cooking and then eating, or cigarettes, or just smoke that you're just inhaling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it ain't good for you. There were plenty of people. I was out in Boston. I saw the tall ships came in, a bunch of old sailing vessels.
Oh, but fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I saw the German one, or there were a few German ones. I saw one of them, and went aboard one, and that was pretty cool. But there were plenty of people who were just wandering around wearing masks, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yep." I mean, that's that. Here's another good use for it. So
yeah, that's practical.
Yeah.
So last week, I was working. I actually was working on our last week's publication of the podcast today because I realized I hadn't posted the links. And last week we talked about the DJI mini receiver, and I had posted one, a quarter ago, and then you put a link in there, and I clicked it, and I noticed that it was different than the one that I originally posted before.
Okay.
The one that I posted before connected to an iOS device or an Android via a plug. You plugged it into the bottom of it, and then it recorded to the phone or the iPad or whatever you're recording to. The one that you sent the link for has a mini receiver. So the mini receiver actually receives the mic inputs and records in the mini receiver. Is that what you have, or do you have the first one that I described?
So I have mine as a 2-piece set. So it connects. So one piece would normally, and silly me, because last time we recorded, I used it on my computer. So I left it at my desk in Massachusetts. So I'm not using it today. I'm using the old Tempest here. But no, it's 2-piece. So the mic, will magnetically or clip on to your collar or whatnot. And then the receiver by a USB-C plugs into either my phone or my Mac.
Okay.
That's what I have. So it's a 2-piece.
Yeah, well, both of them are 2-piece, but one of them has like an actual a device. The one that you linked was a mini receiver that you didn't plug up to your computer, but it recorded to it.
Oh, no. Okay, I linked the wrong one then. No, sorry,
okay.
That's not what I have.
You linked a different one, but yeah, because the one that I bought the one that you have. When I saw the one that you linked, I'm like, I don't think that's the one he has, but maybe he upgraded.
Nope. Apparently I gave you the wrong one.
But what's cool about that is it's standalone, so you don't need a phone. So it is a little tiny mini recorder, so you're recording to it, and then you pull that SD card out and plug it into I think it uses a micro SD. Then you can take that micro SD card out, plug it somewhere else. So that's nice, because when you're Peter Nikolaidis and you buy a phone with the least amount of storage, you probably don't have enough storage on your phone to record audio.
I don't do that anymore. I upgrade. You're not wrong, though.
I have 8.5 gig on my brand new phone available.
Hey, there was a time when that was a lot.
Yeah, there actually was.
Oh boy. Speaking of hard drive or storage prices, so obviously everyone listening to this show, probably I should say, is aware of RAM prices going through the roof, largely driven by GPUs and data centers building out to support AI, et cetera, et cetera. But have you looked at the prices of magnetic hard drives recently?
Magnetic? Are you talking about
like
the
old school
spinning
spindles and stuff? Yeah.
No.
I was looking because I've decided I'm trying to figure out a good backup strategy that will include like, full on full bare metal restore capability for my
Mhm.
Macs. And it's something Scott and I have been going over, trying to understand, because like if you have your stuff in iCloud or in OneDrive, you essentially need a separate backup for that, right?
Mhm.
Than what you have, unless you keep local copies of your entire cloud storage on your hard drive and then back all that up. But I'm having problems with the various, I had problems with Backblaze, I've had problems with Arc. Scott's using Carbon Copy Cloner and just takes a full-on snapshot, makes a volume, and you can just do an image restore to your machine, which is what I
Mhm.
want to be able to do. But I was having trouble a while ago where between Arc, Parachute Backup, which is something that boasts the ability to just back up your iCloud and your photos,
Mhm.
the two Apple services. Between Arc, Parachute, OneDrive, and iCloud storage, I managed to nuke half of my free space. So my 1 terabyte drive was half full. And when those backups were running, it was completely full.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, I got to figure this out, so I really got to optimize this. And I'm thinking what I want to do is just do a Carbon Copy Cloner backup, but push it from my place in Massachusetts to my place in Vermont.
Mhm.
So, have my offsite backup there. Now, Vermont only has about 100 megabit connection, so it's not
Mhm.
super fast. But my thought was I would take a local copy on, physically attach a hard drive to my USB-C port,
Mhm.
push the backup on that, and then disconnect it, mount it to my Mac in Vermont, and then
Mhm.
do differentials to that from there. Of
Mhm.
course, I forgot the hard drive back in Mass, so that's not
Oops.
happening today. But while I was there, I was thinking about that, and I was looking at Best Buy, and I was seeing like 24 or 32 terabyte drives now for under $1,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy moly. So, I think magnetic discs have become the new tape, tape back. I remember when like Tape Archive, and it probably still is, was so cheap compared to everything else, right? You
Yeah.
throw in, you get it back up so much, tape for like $5, would $5 of tape would back up like $1,000 of disc, for
Yeah.
instance. And now it's like $5 of hard drive will back up, $1,000 of SSD. So,
Mhm. Well, so one of my responsibilities is at my work is to spec out servers for clients,
mhm.
and it is so painful to look at these things. So on a server, and I do this practically every day or every other day, is spec out the servers, and I put two RAID 1 solid state drives for the operating system. I pretty much do that for every single system, period. It's either I used to do like two NVMe small, either 256, as an OS,
Mhm.
but now I can't get 256 anymore. It's 480s, and but the NVMe have gone through the roof.
Mhm.
Can't buy those, but I can still get SSD, which equal the performance, but it takes up a slot. $1,000 a piece for a 480 gig solid state drive that's certified to go in a Dell server. I
Wow.
I can buy the same thing for a desktop for $60.
Minus the certification. But
Minus
can you though?
certification.
Can you still get that now? 400 gig drive for $60? I thought those prices had gone through the roof too.
I I don't think they've gone. I don't think that anything. Well, the desktop prices have gone up, but I think the desktop prices are reasonable. So I'll put a pin in that. I'll
Yeah.
look that up just to not put out misinformation.
Mhm.
So I'll look that up because I did buy a solid state for a desktop recent or a laptop recently, and it wasn't terribly priced.
Mhm.
Now the 3.84 terabyte solid state for data drives. Take a wild guess how much one solid state drive for 3.84 terabytes cost.
3.84 terabytes, solid state, 3 terabytes. $2,000.
$7,700 per drive.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, and so we're having a hard time getting, I mean, clients are rightfully saying we can't afford that. And
Yeah.
of course our bosses are saying, well, you've got to sell the value. I'm like, it's not there. It's not there to sell. I mean, this server that I'm replacing, this person bought this server for $4,500 in 2019. And now the same quality server, I would put inflation. Let's say that we did inflation 3% for every year. It's now $21,000 for that baseline server.
Wow.
It's not fair. I mean, there's no such thing as fair. It's not a good valuable. It's not a fair value proposition to a mid-sized business for something that they paid $4,500 for. 6 years later, it's $21,000.
Nope, it is not. And that's the thing. Is like, we're going to suffer, right? Small businesses and individual users are going to suffer as a result of this, because the big, the billionaire driven companies, they're able to do all this, what they need to do, and they can just absorb this cost. We can't.
So and who's the guy you said every time, he's a Synology fanboy. Every time he says something, Synology's got a soundtrack. We may have to look that up, because when you're talking about backups, I have been a Veeam fan for a long time. But now that I no longer own my IT company, I can't justify backing up my personal computers with a paid-for version of Veeam by my business. So I have to do my own. Veeam has a free version, which is pretty good for home use. But Synology has their own backup client, and that you can centralize your backups on the Synology. It will do files, and it will do an image backup, and you can create a boot disk for restoring that image backup. So I have set up at my farm, I'm now backing up my farm computers with the Synology backup software, and I have been for a month, and no problems. I mean, and I even tested the boot disk and restore, and it worked just fine, like any system that you would expect to do.
There you go. Yeah, that's you're referring to Casey Liss on the Accidental Tech podcast, atp.fm. Shout out to those guys.
And then, I got a funny story. It's funny, you say some things, and then I've got stories for it. So one of my clients, we archived a bunch of stuff off of their primary server. They're a huge ballet company, so they have lots of video. Every production they record, and so they save those, but they don't necessarily need them online all the time. But like, I want to take last year's Nutcracker and take highlights from it to sell for the upcoming commercial in this coming fall.
Sure.
Well, we told them to archive this stuff to a spinning disk, an external spinning disk, and told them, don't use it, set it in the closet, and then whenever you need it, you can get it, because they didn't want to pay for cloud backup. We wanted them to pay for cloud. They wouldn't pay for cloud. Like, okay, well then do this. Well, they needed stuff off of it, and so they plugged it up and got the stuff off of it that they needed. Do you think they unplugged it and put it back in the closet to keep it safe?
Well, you might need it again, so of course you leave it running.
Yes. So they left it running and left it running and left it running on this desktop, and the hard drive finally failed. And this was their repository for their backups. They had terabytes of backups on there. Like, don't was and so that's my public service announcement. A spinning hard drive is failing. It just hasn't failed yet. It's spinning. It's got friction. It's got heat. It's got magnetics. Zeros and ones are turning the direction that magnetics they're going neutral over time. They're not going to keep their stuff.
It's an electromechanical system, and the mechanical components will eventually fail. Doesn't matter whether it's a piston or a spinning disc platter or a knee. Eventually, a mechanical system is going to fail.
Yeah. And well, this is a side bunny trail, but have you ever noticed? I mean, the whole thing's a bunny trail right now, so no harm, no foul. Have you ever noticed that a Linux operating system with a spinning hard disk seems to live longer than a Windows system? And the reason I even say that is I've made that statement before, and I was told that the Linux file system, the way that it writes, is it's more friendly to the hard drive. Like, it has to do less work spinning, and therefore ends up living longer. I don't know.
Possible. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. Now I'd be curious which Linux file system, because Linux supports lots, whether it's like what I think ext4, Btrfs, ZFS. There's a bunch of them now. I don't know like what's the
at the time it was ext4.
Yep.
So that's a really old one, right?
EXT has been around for a long time. ext3 was popular when I was, like really getting into Linux, like, wow, almost 20 years ago. Ooh, yeesh. Wow, man. But I don't even know like what the most popular, because like these days I don't have to think about it. When I install a new Linux box, I just take whatever the default is, and I don't even think about it. But it would not surprise me at all to hear that they're more efficient and hardware friendly than NTFS, for example. So, it's very possible. But that, for me personally, that goes into like, anecdotal evidence, because I've never done an exhaustive comparison, throw two machines side by side and, like, all right, go see which one of you dies first.
Yeah. All right. Switching, did we talk? I mean, we talked about marathon training. Was there anything that you wanted to talk additionally about that, or did we?
Not really. I think I mentioned, I'm running Athens this year in November, and essentially I need to train hills and I need to train heat. So and
understand Italian cursing. Get out of the road.
Right. Italian?
Oh, no, Greek.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the Italian is he's lost. I'm lost, you dumb Greek. Where am I?
Fair enough. Yes. So I'll be running the authentic marathon in Athens, Italy, from from Pompeii to Athens, right? So. Oh man, there are similarities between the two countries. No question about that. So cool. All right, what else we got? What's next?
So we mentioned it last week. We mentioned Claude, and we mentioned that you're writing some apps, and you asked me this week, and I haven't had a chance to do anything. Just been a busy week. Asked me if I wanted to trial out some of your apps. Why don't you tell me what some of these apps are that you have been able to write?
All right. So primarily the flagship product is called Across KM. And what it lets you do is move your mouse across multiple displays for multiple computers, or use the mouse to move your cursor, I should say, across multiple computers. And essentially it's one keyboard, one mouse, multiple computers, multiple displays. And the use case, for example, would be work laptop, home laptop. right? And you're
Mhm.
constantly moving back and forth between the two, right? Or if you're a consultant, maybe work laptop, customer laptop, and stuff.
Right.
And so questions of often people who are techies are like, okay, but Macs can already do that. They already can, have screen sharing built in. Like,
Mhm.
yes, if you're signed into the same Apple ID on both
Yes.
machines,
Mhm.
which I highly recommend you do not do on your work laptop. Don't
Yes.
put your personal account on your work laptop. Keep the separation, right?
Mhm.
So number one, that's what the Across Cam lets you do. But it also works with Windows. See, Windows does not have a built-in keyboard and mouse sharing capability. So you can use it with 2 Windows machines, 2 Mac machines, a Windows and a Mac.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you mix them?
Absolutely. Yep. So this was the first, my first real, Claude Code project that really scratched my own itch, because I had been using a competing software program called ShareMouse for years,
Mhm.
and religiously, without fail, after a period of time, the thing would work and it would just stop working. Nothing changing on my side, no security software, no network configuration changes. It just wouldn't connect. I would open up a support ticket. They would come back, oh, try all these things, try the latest version, do all this standard troubleshooting stuff. Oh, your license has just expired. You need to buy a new license. I would get fed up. Time would go by. I would buy a new license, try it out again. Oh, yeah, now it's working again. And
Mhm.
then time would go by and it would just stop working again. And I got so fed up with that one afternoon. I just started doing this. And within a couple of hours, I had a more functional program than I had with a completely non functional ShareMouse.
Nice.
And so friends, I was saying, you should sell it. Well, this has been months now in the making. I've been tweaking it and tuning it a lot, and really putting the finishing touches on it now with Claude Fable. So it's come a long way. Right now, I'm just at the point where I'm finishing up with just a couple more bugs, and then I want to distribute it. So I've got a developer signed certificate now. The developer certificate, so the code is signed, so you can just double click in it, and it doesn't throw you like a gatekeeper warning in Mac OS, and you won't get screen what's it called? Smart screen in Windows saying,
Oh yeah.
ooh, this is really bad software, so it's all going to be legit and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So Across KM, that's the flagship project. The next one that I scratched my own itch is called CMD tab, command tab.
Can I ask you one
Oh,
question
oh,
about
sorry. Yes. Back up.
that?
Yes.
Does it work with iOS?
No. So it
No.
isn't. So that is a place where you might lose a little functionality, because with iPad OS, with an iPad and a Mac, you can share your screen across those two. That if you had 2 Macs on different Apple IDs and an iPad, you should be able to use it too. But you'd be using the built-in Mac
Mhm.
handoff or universal remote, or whatever they call
Yeah.
it, and Across KM together. Those should they should play well together, right? But if you have 2 Macs on the same Apple ID and an iPad, well, then you don't need this. But if you threw
Yeah.
a Windows machine in, that's where things get a little dicey.
Mhm.
So what I would recommend in that configuration is disable the universal, or I forget what, I think it's universal remote, but disable that on one of your Macs. Leave it
Mhm.
on the other one that you want adjacent to your iPad,
Mhm.
right? So conceive, and I've tested this with 2 Macs and 2 Windows machines simultaneously, 4
Mhm.
at a time, and it works.
Cool.
So it's pretty slick. Yeah. So I forget what I chose for pricing on it, but it's going to be, aggressively priced compared to some of the competition out there. And, listeners of the show will get a discount code when the time comes. So
Yeah. It'll be less than $1 million for sure.
definitely less than $1 million, unless you need a 1,000,000-year license, in which case maybe it will be. I don't know. So, so Across KM, that's the first one. The next one, scratching my own itch, is Command Tab, or CMD tab. And this is a blatant thumbing my nose at the project called Alt Tab. Alt Tab was one of my favorite. I used it constantly. What Alt Tab does is lets you. So in Mac OS, by default, if you use Command Tab, you move between running applications.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Alt Tab lets you customize that, but the biggest thing that I used it for was I had it set so that you can move not just through running applications, but windows within the active application. So like right now with you, I have multiple Chrome windows open. If I do Option tab on my Mac, I can toggle between those two. Well, Alt Tab decided, and this is their right, they decided to discontinue their free version, and they went commercial, and it was like $14 or something like that. And I was like, I'll get to it. And you and I happened to we were actually working on a stock options trade when my license expired. And all of a sudden, I'm not able to Option Tab through my windows of the Trader workstation. And you'd be surprised how quickly, when something that you have ingrained in muscle memory that's part of your workflow goes away, how much that sabotages your workflow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know I could move the mouse into the corner and then see all the active windows and then tab to it, or I can click the window drop down and choose it or whatnot. But like, it was just so off-putting, and I was really, really frustrated. So I created Command Tab instead. Now, Alt Tab, in their defense, it does a lot more than my program does, right? There's a lot more. Command Tab right now just does one thing. It takes over the Command Tab keystroke, and it adds Option Tab to cycle between the little windows. Why would you use it? Well, number one, I know that I have no privacy concerns because my machine, my software is not collecting any sort of telemetry. There's a growing movement where small utility apps get purchased by data mining companies, and they want to monitor and log everything you do. So I don't have to do that. And my pledge to all of our, my users is I'm never going to do that to you, right? So as a security guy and a privacy guy, that's not going to happen. So that applies to all of my apps. So Command Tab, again, that's going to be, it'll be a commercial software, but it's going to be a few bucks maybe, right? So, it's well worth it if you find it. If you at all use your keyboard for toggling, to controlling and moving between apps on your Mac, then it's going to be, beneficial to you. So questions on Command Tab?
No, I got that.
Next one. Another app called Shush, which I have been using, right? Yes, that is, I started getting messages every time I boot my machine that support for Intel Mac binaries is ending soon. Well,
oh yeah,
Shush,
I get that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know what you get it too. So, well, I decided, you know what? I got sick of Shush telling me that every time I open it up, or Mac OS telling me every time I opened it up my computer that Shush, support was going to end soon. So I made effing mute. So what it does is, by default, you can change the key, but by default, the FN key on your Mac will just toggle your mute. So like right now, I'm on this call. If I hit FN, it'll mute my microphone, and when I let go of it, I unmute. Don't need to fiddle around. Don't need to figure out, oh, is this Teams? Where's the mute button? Oh, in Zoom it's different. In Google Meet it's somewhere else. You just train yourself, hit the F and me, because sometimes you just want to F and mute yourself before So it's like you can speak your mind. Yes. So again, that'll probably be like $5 or something like that. Great little utility software. And then just yesterday, I forked a menu bar manager. There's one out there, a popular open source one called Ice, where the developer doesn't have support for the modern operating system. So I said, well, let me just fork it. It's GPL3. It's going to remain open source because I'm following the GNU public license GPL3. But I called mine, for right now, I called it Ice Melt. And it's basically right now it's just a port of Ice to modern frameworks and modern OS support. and it's working great. So
Nice.
now all I have to do is go through and like strip out a bunch of the garbage that I don't actually support. It's like, oh, you can check for updates. Well, I haven't implemented that, so I don't know where it's checking. It's probably checking the original project for updates, which there are none, right? So I got to do a little bit of cleanup, but that one's going to be open source, and so if anyone wants to fork it or whatever, use it, they can. All three. Let's see. Oh, and then the latest one that I cranked out real fast was, do you use Dropbox or OneDrive on your Mac?
No, not on my Mac. I don't.
Windows?
I do on Windows.
Okay. You know how on Windows, it's the same on Mac, you have a little status icon in the system tray? And on the Mac, you would have it in the menu, the finder bar at the top, the menu bar.
Yeah.
Apple, in classic, you don't need to know, you don't want to know, please return to your seat, don't ask any questions, gives you no way to easily see what's going on with iCloud. Now, if you open up Finder and you go to an iCloud synced folder, you can see the status of a file. You can see if it's, cloud only or if it's downloaded and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I made iCloud Watch,
and
it just makes a little icon in the menu bar icon, not unlike that of Dropbox or OneDrive. And it just shows you what it's doing. If it's in the middle of uploading a file, you have a little up arrow to the cloud. If it's downloading files, you have a little down arrow. And you can click on it and it shows you recently changed files. So just, simple, tiny little utility. And that one I'll probably just give away for free.
Yeah, that's cool. No, so I mean, I just don't. I happen to not use. I have used Dropbox a lot, and I have used OneDrive a lot. But from my personal, from my businesses, I have removed Dropbox from my life, and I've removed OneDrive from my life, and I just do Google Drive.
Got it. Got it.
Well,
and do you have a paid account though, right? You're not talking just Gmail, right? Yep.
Yeah. I've got a Google Workspace account.
Yep. Yeah. For me, I still pay personally, for my OneDrive, for my M365 subscription. I kept my active Microsoft partner network, so I pay like $500 a year, but that gives me access to, all the, Microsoft 365 up to 5 seats. Gives me a handful of Windows Server licenses, which I use from time to time, or desktop Windows licenses. Generally, I'm just using those in like Parallels as a virtual machine license on my Mac and stuff. But it's could I save a few bucks? Probably, but I also get like Vizio cloud license when I want it, so I can, it's just a lot of like little things where I still use it enough. So $500 a year, it's a lot, but I'm using it. So
yeah. My server licenses, I think the last one that I have access to is 2022, and I've got one file server here, and eventually that's going to go. I'll have to figure out that problem somewhere down the road. Maybe I'll replace it with a Linux
Synology.
Yeah, Synology does have Active Directory.
Yep, it's probably running on Samba though, right? It's probably just Samba 4.
Yeah, it is running a Samba. I don't know, but it does run Active Directory. All I want to do with Active Directory in my home is have domain joined computers that I can log on to any one of them with my account and an administrator account.
There you go.
Without having to create local users everywhere.
Yep. I used to do that, but then, and I don't know if it's still current guidance, but when I was going through my Microsoft certifications, it used to be if you have more than 10 users, you should have a domain and not a work group set up. For me, I used to do it when it was like more than 5.
Yeah.
So like back when Paradigm, I had a little office. If it was just me and one other guy, it's like, okay, here's your login on this machine. And you need to all right, I'll just set up your account on this computer too. We'll use the same, type in your password, whatever you chose on that one. Okay, now they're synced. And then when I hit 5 people, I was like, I'm going to spin up a domain controller. Just do that. Yeah. So, yep. but
Well,
I can't justify that right now. So, but then again, I've got Azure AD, right? So it's all synced through M365. So if I needed it, I have it. I just don't have a local.
right. Well, so if you ever do get in, if you're looking for another app, one of the ones that I would love to have is I hate the way Apple handles Windows. And I think you said that you use an app for that as well,
Yes.
for handling Windows.
Yes.
Because the thing that I really dislike is if I were to maximize this window that I'm looking at you on my Google Chrome tab, it's going to throw it into a brand new virtual desktop that is separate from the window over here, when I just want a window. I just want a maximized window here. I don't want a virtual desktop. I just want my window maximized. I don't want to lose the ability to, access the menus that are at the top of it. I don't want it to full frame locked in.
Yep.
Now, sometimes I want to do that, but 99% of the time, I just want a full window to fill the whole window.
Yep. So yeah, for right now, I'm still using Rectangle Pro for that. And it works. It's a decent one. I paid for it a while ago. I think it's like $10 or something like that. And so far it has not done anything to completely tick me off and make me want to scratch that itch and replace it with something else. So
because I have had a lot. Well, what you mentioned earlier about the tab, that I'm going to look at that, because the platform that we use for option trading, it is in a Java window, and I'm on a Mac, so that means my stuff is not maximized. So sometimes the windows, one of them decides to be the window on top, and the other one disappears, and it's like random. I need to get back to the window that I need to see.
And that's where commit tab, boom, boom, it can easily, like, why I see that happen to me a lot. Like, wait, why did we just move? Come on, go back, please. Thank you. So that's a classic use case for that.
But using that same application in Windows, my window is maximized, and when that pop-up happens, like it doesn't pop away anymore. It pops, but it's still on top because the other one is maximized. So it's kind of an inherent Mac problem, or you call it a feature, I guess.
Feature. It's a design. That was a design choice, as I say.
All right. Well, I think we gave people their money's worth today.
I think dear listener, you got more than your money's worth today. I mean, I don't know what you paid for this podcast, but you're getting it back in spades. So if you want to contact us, dear listener, you can find us at blurringthelinespodcast.com. We also are on YouTube. We're on your favorite podcast catcher. Adam is all around, but you can find him generally at rrlavenderfarm.com. And you're not really big on the socials again these days. Still not so much.
Not so much.
Don't blame you. And you can find me at just one site, pn72.com. From there, you got links to all of those things. But if you go to blurringthelines.com, you've got links to both me and Adam. So that's a great way. Blurringthelinespodcast.com.
Yes.
Thank you. Just realized I just said that wrong. So yes, blurringthelinespodcast.com. You can find all of us everywhere, all of our plethora of options, whatever that might be. So. Oh boy, I think I've rambled on enough. I'm going to stop. Maybe it's time to push that big red button.
I think it is.